Good morning, everyone. Nice to see all of you. And good morning to everyone out there around the world. When I do these services here, I never really know what I'm going to sing. So I think about it and something just comes through. So this is the song that's coming through right now.
Centered breath, please. Heavenly Father, Mother God, into your hands we surrender our spirit. In this moment, we give you our mind, our hearts, our souls, our creativity, our feelings, our emotions, again, our lives, our bodies, our being, ourselves. To you we surrender all that we think ourselves to be, believe ourselves to be. We surrender all this that we think is great or challenging. We surrender all of this as unconditionally as possible onto the altar of love. Here, lift it and disperse it into the nothing that it is. Rejuvenate it, recycle it, and bring it back as your will in our hearts and souls. You guide what we know to be ourselves. You guide our opinions, our thoughts, our feelings, our creative moments. You guide our everything. Every song, every parenting moment, partnership moment. Heavenly Father, Mother God, into your hands we surrender our spirit, mind, body, soul. And in such choices, we become your living presence in earth, as earth, on earth, and with each other. And so it is.
So it is. Please join me in reading our mission statement, which you can find on this white card. Together we say, the Global Center for Christ Consciousness is a spiritual center for students and masters on the spiritual path. We are dedicated to awakening the inner Christ and creating a world of love, peace, joy, and abundance. And now for our sacred reading.
From White Eagle. When the will to become Christ-like grows strong in the heart, it causes an opening in the consciousness for the greater self to descend into the physical body. You think that your physical body is you, but it is only an infinitesimal part of you. If you would contact your true self, go into a place of quiet to commune with your Creator in your heart. Then you will rise in consciousness. That great light in which you see, in which you rise, is, you will find, the divine self. You, yourself, your own divinity, the real you. By opening your consciousness to this divine self, your whole vibration will be quickened and your body becomes purified. And so it is.
And now I'd like to welcome back Jaya Lakshmi. Beautiful, beautiful music.
I'm so honored to be here. I wanted to share this song with you. So part of it is in Spanish, and of course I'm going to do my best to sing Spanish. And it's just talking about, I love you, Mother. And this can be Divine Mother. I love you, Mother. I love your medicine. So whatever form the medicine's coming. And then it says, limpia, limpia, which means clean my heart. And then cura, cura, heal my heart, heal my heart. And this has just been in my head all night and all yesterday, so. Actually for the last week. Okay. Te amo, madre, amo tu medicina. 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 Cura, 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 cura mi corazón. Cura, 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 cura mi corazón. Limpia, 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 limpia mi corazón. Limpia, 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 limpia mi corazón, limpia mía. Thank you for the years, Mother. Thank you for the tears, lover. Thank you for the blessing of letting go. Thank you for the years, Mother. Thank you for the tears, lover. Thank you for the blessing of letting go. Te amo, madre, amo tu medicina. 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 Cura, 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 cura mi corazón. Cura, 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 cura mi corazón. Limpia, 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 limpia mi corazón. Limpia, 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 limpia mi corazón. Limpia mía. Thank you for the years, Mother. Thank you for the tears, lover. Thank you for the blessing of letting go. Thank you for the years, Mother. Thank you for the tears, lover. Thank you for the blessing of letting go. Thank you for the years, Mother. Thank you for the tears, lover. Thank you for the blessing of letting go. Thank you for the years, Mother. Thank you for the tears, lover. Thank you for the blessing of letting go. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, how's everyone doing today? Good, thank you for being with us. We'll start off asking, as we often do. What would you like me to talk about today? Love-isms, okay.
Heartbreak. Possibilities.
Heartbreak? Is that what you said? Aww.
Possibilities. Trust. Freedom of the soul.
Okay,
Trust.
we did that one. Yeah, somebody said trust. Well, say it again. Okay. We've talked, the last few weeks I've noticed, and every so often we do this, but we've talked the last couple of weeks, there's been a common theme to a degree, and that is the value of, in a way, simplifying what we learn, what we teach, what we learn, but understanding that there's this sacred number, 3, in a lot of, and understanding these kinds of things helps downloads, occur more smoothly through us, not to overcomplicate spirituality or anything else. So one of the versions of this we talked about recently, we hear of a trinity of God, but you also have a trinity of your human nature, your physical, emotional, and intellectual self. So your upper 3 chakras are the presence of God, right here. The kingdom of heaven is within you, Jesus said. It is, right here. The upper 3 chakras are a metaphor of the presence of the Trinity of God right here. That doesn't mean that when you feel a buzzing and you open your third eye that it's an absolute perfect divine experience, because it's still our version of the Trinity of God. Okay. We also have a trinity of the human self. That's the lower, the physical, emotional, intellectual self. And in between those two, there's one left out that I haven't gotten to yet, which is the heart center, which is the third of these 3 sets. See, there's a set of 3, a set of 3, and one more. So that's also 3 groupings, let's call it. So seeing that everything moves within this, seeing that the 7 initiations on the spiritual path are really your own movements through yourself. When someone says, oh, I've discovered some new teachings, it's just another chakra. It's just another thing. Oh no, this is better. Really? It's still right here. Oh, but I've now gone into Course in Miracles, very heart-centered. And someone else, Science of Mind, different chakra, and it's you. It's just you. All we're doing is seeing in the world a mirror of ourselves. Some of you were asking about trust and infinite possibilities and letting go of fears, which we're going to address a bit. But understanding that everything that we experience is actually right here. People will say, I had a vision of God, or something dark and mischievous. We think that we're standing here in a room where there's all kinds of others. And you can take a person and say, tell me about your life. I'm gonna be your psychotherapist. Tell me about your life. And your mom did this, and then dad, and then a first boyfriend and a 6th husband. And we're writing down all these pieces about your life. And then you have gay friends and straight friends. Okay, keep going. And you like this politician, but not that one. And you're describing, and here's what we think is happening. I'm simply standing in my life describing the people I've observed on the news or here in my life or my next door neighbor, right? That's normal conversation, right? But that's what we think. We think I'm standing here describing people. There's a young man, or there's a guy in a white outfit, whatever it happens to be. I'm saying that we think our mind ends here and they're over there. Your mind is actually the perimeter of the room. So all of these people are parts of us. You could be like a person who says, I always wanted to be a musician, and I heard Jaya playing, and oh my God, it reminds me of what I wanted to do. She is you. So either do it or don't. She's not the thing you can't have. She's what you are if you choose it. But you can also say, thank you for mirroring your beauty, your talent, and I'm going to retire that now. Not a negative. I'm going to retire that. She represents something, and I'm going to retire that. Every person you think is attractive, every person you think you had as a partner, they're not there, which might have actually happened, but they're not there. They mirror things to us. So what we learn is, are they mirroring my expansion of healthiness or unhealthiness? Now, say to yourself, because then I can choose. This doesn't mirror healthiness, therefore, I see it as probably a sign of unhealthiness, so goodbye. Now, it's not that they're evil, although they might behave that way. It's that you're recognizing that in your own experience, this is not going to work for you. It does make it easier to retire those things with less heartbreak, because it isn't another that I'm losing. It's a part of me that I'm not choosing. I like that, choosing, not losing. Yeah, oh, wow. right? So be a chooser, not a loser. And on that note, when I come from here, my higher self, I'm choosing healthiness. But watch. Why doesn't the healthiness always translate down to here in my human experience? Because something's happening in between those two. Where's that? The heart. I get it. I'm not so sure. Oh, God. I know what true love is. I don't know. Oh. And now I have a loser experience instead of a chooser, right? I have a negative experience or whatever. Even positive experiences that I think have power over me are still negative experiences. It all has to come back to here. And the truth is, if we really went for this, when you really get it, you're really not interested in anybody else because they're all you. Yeah, right? There's a dating workshop waiting to happen. Singles night where everybody just becomes one and says goodbye to each other. And it was nice meeting you all, but I don't need you, What was the point? Because a chooser can say, I get it. Do you? Yeah, you too? Yeah, it's kind of amazing. Now that we get it, would you like to connect and share time like that? I don't need from you, you don't need from me, but can we choose to share the non-needy one, the one who gets it? And that's the new level of relationship. But that takes courage and it takes time, because we're like, I'm ready for what he's talking about. I'm totally, and then you go out and I totally get it, no needy self. And I walk into a cafe and, they're kind of hot looking. And then they dump you and it's like, I muscle tested it. You gave it like 3 seconds of an evaluation. Like, you got to let it lock in. You got to actually get it. Well, how do I know I'm getting it? Because of how it goes. Well, I thought that they were going to be better. They are you jumping the gun, man. They are you moving a little too fast. So you don't hear this stuff and 3 minutes into it think it's all going to change. You've got you that has built all these patterns and then you have an idea of something new. And right now the idea is small compared to you and your patterns. So I've got to break free of all these patterns. I've got loads of stuff that I need to work through. So these people in my life, I need to recognize they are mirroring my growth. How am I doing? And it might be like, oh my God, that was the first relationship of actual honest communication. Oh, here's one of integrity. Oh, I see I'm growing. And you might go up a notch, up a notch. Then one slips under the radar. And then you're going to be tempted to, oh God, crash. I thought I was more spiritual. I guess none of it's true. No. This is what happens in this world. The world is a mirror. The world is a mirror. And it's a hologram. And some people say, I don't believe in that hologram stuff because I can touch it. I mean, this is the real world. No, that's what a hologram is, something that seems real. That's the whole point. It is a very intense, powerful program. And it's still a mirror. It's a hologram. What is the hologram doing? Who fires up the hologram, by the way? Who makes the images in the hologram? It is mirroring my beliefs, thoughts, experiences, and ours. Mine and ours, yours and ours, yours and ours. It's a co-creation from the I that I think I am and us. Either one's diluted anyway. And so the hologram is not a happy image. It's not meant to be, because our ego wants it to be one of devastation and depression and powerlessness. When you say, wait, I'm choosing healthiness, someone has just shown up. The one that was here once upon a time that went to sleep has now woken up. Instead of I just go along with the programs, I'm done with that. Wait a minute, what? Let me ask your opinion, God. I am that I am. I am love. You're made in my image. You're love. You don't need anyone, but you can share with others. Let's be at peace about that, okay? Got it. What do you think? Uh-oh. Here comes the ego self going, you're getting older and you need someone to die with. And, who's going to pay the bills? The world's changing. Economy's changing, And it's like, and we start to, a minute ago I was feeling peace and now I'm all concerned and worried. Get a second opinion. From who? Another insane person. That doesn't make any sense. That's like walking around an insane asylum asking everybody to channel for you. They're already channeling enough. And one of them might be channeling God, one of them not. Do you know which one is which? No. So stop asking people's shallow opinions. The only time you should listen to another person's opinions if they and you understand that they're coming from mirroring your healthy self. How do I know? Because I can tell what healthiness looks like. It's inspiring. It builds. It doesn't start off with, you lack, and I'll tell you how to find what you lack. Because then it's already determined the goal by me lacking. If I'm missing something, whether it's a voice that says, I'm worthless, or a voice that tries to say the opposite. You have such value. That's what I thought. And everybody just doesn't appreciate you. Exactly. We need to find you value. Okay, where do we go? And it's already steered you into the hologram to get answers. But nobody's there. So of course it's going to come back empty-handed, which is their fault. Who's the they? The ghosts that walk around pretending they're people. Stop falling in love with ghosts. Find yourself and share with others from a new place. Is that easy when you're heartbroken? Is that easy when you're in the middle of something? Is that easy when you have children between you? Man, this world, it's challenging. And a miracle is a moment where you're able to find sanity amongst insanity. That's the whole point. I know it's impossible, but what's impossible for man is possible for God. So we end up back in that piece, which is you can't pull this off without plugging in. Another great bumper sticker, right? Pull it off by plugging in, Get connected to something that has sanity. The ultimate sanity is God. Here, prayer, meditation, communion with God, regularly channeled down into my heart because my heart's been cut off. Heaven, Eden, earth. I was in heaven, allowed myself to forget my identity of divinity, dropped into earth, into the Eden plane of semi-knowing. Now this is spirit. This is soul. That's body or human self. I was once one with God. I fell into the Garden of Eden. And there I had a chance to get home, which we covered last week a little bit. But there I had a chance to get home. But I started believing the lies that I was separate from God instead of healing the lie. Healing the lie would have meant I ate from the tree of forgiveness. But instead, Adam and Eve, which is us, ate from the tree of forgetfulness, the tree of judgment. And we fell further down into our human self. When you start to make sane decisions, ones that the voice of God speaks into my heart, and I know this just isn't right. Something's off here. And that doesn't mean you run and bail from every challenge. I'm just saying you want to approach it differently from a place of love. So God, I don't know the situation as clearly as I could. Show me. Show me what I need to see here. Show me, guide me in my thoughts, words, deeds, etc. Now the light of God is given permission, it needs that from us, to shine more brightly and fill my heart. This is cool, oh my God. But you're not done, because this is a gauntlet. You not only have to go from spirit accepted down into your heart, but you then have to allow that to get to the human self, which if it was just a human self, might not be too challenging. But the human self is refracted into a physical, emotional, and intellectual self. So poor me, man, my soul's trying to download new guidance and lifestyle down into my life, and it's got to go through my intellect. That's not going to go well. Well, this is kind of foolish because intellect tells you that there is no God. Oh, you're just up creek. The thinker, the doubter, the overthinker. If you get lucky and move through that, you hit the emotional self that's just always whining about something. I'm not talking about feelings. That's here. I'm talking about broken, human, limited self. It's just all messed up. Always depressed, always lonely. My human ego nature I'm talking about. And if we get through there, there's the body. You're getting older, a new ache, and on and on and on. And it's always going on about money, material things. You're trying to take I am all the way to my life is. And between here and there, everything goes wrong. Your ego is just slamming you at every level. Our job is to know God is, I am, and my life is. A reflection of God. Can I get this through and through? Jesus says, let the outside be like the inside. Up above, like below, left to right, everything connected. There's an interesting part of the lost books of the Bible. The lost books are not just conspiratorial, although in a way they are. They were voted, some of them, out of the Bible by control freaks, okay? Also known as the church fathers. But they were in fact, messing around and being controlling. But also some of them hadn't been excavated. Some of them hadn't been around or discovered yet. So in all honesty, there's some of those. So they find some of these. Gospel of Philip, Gospel of Thomas, Gospel of even Mary Magdalene had a gospel. They all wrote stories about what, their experience with Jesus. So it's very interesting because there's a point where they're sitting and Mary Magdalene is sitting with them. And I don't care what anybody makes up stories, theories and channelings about Magdalene. These are the facts in her own book and their books. So she's sitting with the apostles and Jesus is downloading, and it's kind of like they're all hanging out, whatever. And then here it comes. Jesus sits up and decides to teach. And it's like, oh, here it comes, man. He's going to download. And he starts, this deep stuff. And then Peter says, wait. We're supposed to dismiss the women. What do you mean? Well, Mary, she's a woman and she shouldn't be because their tradition was women aren't allowed to be present during downloads and teachings. They're supposed to wait outside or do whatever. Wash clothes or something. They're little stereotypes of the past, and they're supposed to be gone. They're not allowed to be in here. So what an interesting thing, and it's perplexed people for decades. Peter's saying she's a woman. She's not allowed to be in here. Now, Jesus doesn't buy into people's games. When they say, Jesus, should we pay taxes? He's always several steps ahead. Oh, I know why you're asking. Because if I say no, I'm going to be killed by the Romans for treason. If I say yes, you're going to be, I'm enabling the Romans. Now you're not going to. So he knows he loses either way. So he doesn't go there, which you should practice. When people are messing with you, don't jump in with them into their game. Spirit will guide you another direction. So Jesus, when they say, she's not supposed to be here. Women are not allowed. They're supposed to be off mending and doing things. Jesus says, oh, you're right. Gosh, hadn't thought of that. And he says, so let's make her a man. Now, we're not talking sex change operation. And then the Lordeth, mateth, hereth, have male genitaliath. That's not what happened. What was he saying? This is the Gospels, man. This is history. What did he mean? Then we must make her a man. Here's what he's saying. When you identify only as a man or a woman, you're in your human self, and you're a limited self. He was saying, let's pull her above being just a woman, make her a man as well. Lose gender identification is what he was saying. Let her be her male self that you will determine then to be worthy of these teachings. But it's also true that somebody could have walked in the room and said, you still trying to get through to men? Wow, they're so stubborn. He could have then said, let's make them as women. The point is, he's telling us, change your perception. Stop thinking of her as just a woman in your mind, or as him as just a man. Let's pull back and forget the gender and make her worthy. That's what he said. It confuses people because, anyway, people. God. So, something fantastic is happening. And in the world, there's a sense that, guys, God, heaven, soul, Eden. Our souls lived in Eden. Remember, we didn't have bodies. We were ethereal. And God said, we, plural, will make them, plural, in our plural image. So our soul had the attributes of God in the sense that we were still light and open and creative. When they fell in Eden, they needed skins. We covered that last week. But when they fell in Eden, they became humans with skin, with dense bodies. We did that, digression. Now what people are calling ascension and so forth, those are really just micro versions of what is called the journey home. You are and you will go from being human-oriented to soul-oriented. How do we know when that's happening? Music that's more ethereal. Music that's more global, world music. Music, talks, conversation where we learn to say, what would you have me say, God? When we think as a we, you're accessing this chakra. When people say fifth dimension, let's go to higher, fifth, sixth, 18th, 89th dimension. You're not getting there without your soul being prepared to enter higher consciousness. You don't leave your soul behind. All the dimensionalities are nothing but variations of the soul's experience. I know heaven in this self, multi-high dimensions in this self, and density in this human self. Ascension means I'm starting to lose my identification with being a mere mortal. How do I know when that's happening? I don't need things like I used to. That's one of the symptoms. I don't seem to need like I used to. I also don't seem to identify with a limited self. Instead of saying constantly, oh, that's impossible, I just go, okay, let's try it. You start living more like mastery consciousness. And it also means, and globally this is happening, this isn't like a few of us, special people. The world is doing it. How do I know? Because look at what's happening to genders. All that is a misinterpretation, extremism that humans love living of we have no gender. So what happens to the ego? The ego's going, I don't like this. People are going to stop identifying with themselves being certain races and genders. I need that to have a battle. I can't get people fighting if they don't see differences. So it doesn't dig that. So what it's going to do is go, well, I'm losing this battle. People are starting to find their center. Here's the pendulum. We're all different colors and races. Here's the center. Here it comes. And it's going to go and make it all the way to the other side. Start cutting and nipping things off and adding things on and plugging things on, and inserts and whatever else to make us go, look, I'm so genderless, but you got these appendages that nobody else has. Wow, that was weird. Anyway, yeah. So that's extreme. That's extreme. That's typical. See through it. Just laugh at it. See through it. That's just wow. Because humans love to do that. But you know what? You hold here in the center of what it really means. My own child is swinging from here to here. That's okay because they're really here. They just don't know it yet. And the world is telling us, I know, but they don't know. Forgive them, they know not what they do. The beautiful news is it's never been an issue of gay or straight because you're neither. It never has been an issue really of male and female because you're neither. The world is trying to just simply find a way to, its own way to make it a thing. An ism, as you brought up, ism. An ism that you can get caught up in. Don't. Just stay here if you can. When they talk, when they show the news and the dramas and the, oh my God, and children and confusions and and what's my job? Center. How do I best stay centered? Not by anything that comes from you as an idea, but asking the Divine Mother, the Holy Spirit, I'm seeing this and I'm seeing this. I'm seeing desperation. I'm seeing relationship, drama, war, whatever. Show me how to see this differently. Ask the Holy Spirit, the Divine Mother, to help you see things differently. When you do, you actually redeem what you were looking at. That's how this works. A Course in Miracles uses a lot of stories and metaphors and teachings based on the word seeing. And he does not mean your eyes. What he's saying in the Course, when he's talking about changing your seeing, help me to see this differently, Lord. We think that it means with these eyes. Help me to perceive this differently, and it's not so much. It's really, how do I see this through your eyes, and God has no eyes. So what it means then is, help me to experience this as a holy experience. It's not about, show me how to see them differently. Give them extra parts. Show me how to see them a different color, a different gender. Then you're still involved. It really comes around to, show me how to experience this person as they really are. And you know what they really are as a holy child of God. So it'll go from a feeling shift, not eyes, a feeling shift. God, you used to trigger me and now I'm feeling more peaceful. I might still not live with you, but I'm at peace with it. And then it's nice because sometimes the body catches up and I also see you differently. I also hear different words coming from your mouth. The senses will catch up, but I'm not attached to that. Please don't get attached to that. You pray for a miracle, it starts to happen, and then you attach senses to it, and the ego's well aware that that's likely. So it's already ready for that, to misdirect you again. No, I'm going to go with seeing as God sees, feeling as God feels, and so on. Changing the whole world. So in this Magdalene story, it's a really great example of, right there, 3D teachings about gender, insert any topic, gender, race, smokers, drinkers, non-smokers. I mean, they're another title. And our job, hey, Jesus, you certainly don't want smokers in the room. I don't mind. Jesus might say, oh no, you haven't heard about secondhand smoke. Let's talk about that, Jesus. In case you don't know, secondhand smoke's the second, here you go. And Jesus would be saying, ooh, so let's do this. Let's remove our perception that they're a smoker and bring them into the non-smoker self. And then they're worthy of being in the room. Now, that's what he would have said, using the same metaphor. Is everybody happy with that? No. You did not enable my opinions of smokers. See? And that's why the teachings of Christ consciousness are not always easy to wrap our minds around, because we already have our opinion of what it should be telling us. And as long as it tells us things that we agree with, we're good with it. As soon as it disagrees, oh, that's probably not channeled then, it's probably something else. You can just tell. It's loving, it's forgiving, it's, and so on, right? This higher consciousness. So this example of Jesus should be looked at as in our own lives. I'm being asked to rise into soul level thinking, feeling. Go back here, go back. And this isn't home yet. When people say, always follow your heart, I didn't say that. Your heart's been hijacked by the ego. I'm saying follow your heart when it's inspired by God. If it's cut off and you're following your heart, you're following a heart-broken guide. You see the difference? Your heart, when it's been hijacked, when it's been beat up, enough wounds programmed, uploaded to the soul. Because here's what we do. Our souls are like hands. Fingers are like the incarnations you've had in the world. So here's spirit world, and here's the veil, and then here's the material world. When your fingers penetrate this world, your hand is up here, fingers down here. Does that make sense? This is the realm of soul, we'll call it, and this is the human realm. I have 4 lifetimes that have, let's say, been betrayal. Okay? When I die, the fingers retract back into the hand, which is called your life flashing before your eyes. That's when your records of this lifetime upload back into your what? Soul, which is holding your Akashic records. When you go to incarnate again, the soul says, okay, we're going in again. Here comes another lifetime. But with it, it downloads the memory of your betrayal stuff. So when you incarnate, you're coming in and you go, I don't know why this is happening. You brought it in with you. Oh, how do I stop doing that? Well, you heal it right now. Let's work on it. Don't condemn it. Don't shame it. Let's work on it. So whatever is your life, and I'm talking every particle of your being, every freckle, every shape of your nose, your ears, your hair color, your race, all of it is based on what's been uploaded to your soul, determined to be part of your experience today, and it's downloaded into your next lifetime. Okay? And that same metaphor applies to here's my next lifetime, and then there's you and someone else and someone else. We're all fingertips dipping down into the material world, looking at each other. There's a hot looking fingertip. It's just a fingertip. It's just a fingertip. No, this fingertip, whew, wow. Because this one's been filed down and looks really sharp. So one fingertip falling in love with another fingertip. When you learn the secret to this, which the ignorant majority do not want to understand, when you learn this, it sort of takes away from the pizzazz of fingertip infatuations. And you start to go, can I know your soul instead of this? Because this stuff is not only different fingertips, it's also Just one of your lifetimes is here carrying all your soul stuff. So I can sit here and say, I want you to change your fingertip behaviors so that they match what I'm looking for, but that's just behavioral management. Really, the only cure is I want to see you as God sees you. And God isn't going to take you all the way home straight. It's first and foremost, start perceiving souls. I want you to tell me what makes you tick. I don't want to just hear the finger. I don't want you to show me, do a showroom, game here to interest me. What's in your soul? What's your soul about? What are your deepest fears? What are your greatest dreams? Tell me what is in your soul. And that's like, wow. And sometimes that's magnificent stuff, and sometimes it's the deepest patterns that were uploaded from many lifetimes of pain. And most human beings don't want anybody to see the deepest. Even if you don't like parts about the fingertip consciousness, human behavior, at least you're not seeing the worst of me. So I dress up the fingertips to keep you distracted from what's behind the veil. The worst of me. When you and I can say, you know what? Show me your worst and I'm not going to run away. I think it's profound. A healer, a counselor, a mother, a person, a partner, a friend that can say, just tell me, whatever. And it could be anything from the most horrendous pain, hurts, losses, wounds. And I'm still here. And you can do this. They're never allowed to vent those wounds onto you. Then you draw a line and say, wait, I said share that. But I'm not saying take it out on me. And that's where you have to draw a line. Shy of that, go for it. Share with me. If you're a healer, a counselor, a parent, and people feel that without even you saying it, they can feel your sense of centeredness and that you're safe to tell anything. Guys, I'm telling you, there's no experience on planet Earth greater than that moment. When someone says, you mean you're really willing to see me? Yes. On all levels, yes. Not taking it out on me, but yes. But I've done really naughty things. Well, we all have. Oh no, there was this one lifetime where I killed, I got a few of those, And you let people know. Even if you share all those, that's the fingertip telling me about the hand that's not yet the heart that the arms are connected to, God. So even when you tell me your worst, I don't go, oh, and react. Oh, I didn't know it was going to be that bad. That's really not a good thing to do to a client or your child. It's just not a good thing. Shaming people, I'm not into that. I just don't think it's cool. But what you can do is realize, even when you're hearing these downloads, this is not the ultimate them. This is the part that all their personalities and lifetimes have tried to hide. And you're giving them permission, So a person starts off, man, I've dated so many people. Oh, man, I've had so much luck with girls or guys or whatever it is, And you're able to say that I see behind that. And then next thing you know, they're sharing deeper and deeper stuff. And hidden behind the, well, look at me, the peacocking kind of, I'm so amazing, comes this, I'm so alone. And it's amazing. I remember a woman came for a session once about 20 years ago, and she was sharing, for whatever reason she thought it was what she needed. She's sharing about all her successes and her triumphs and people she hooks up with overnight, And she's like, I can just look at them and send them a mental thought, and next thing I know, I'm with them in the sack, and all these kinds of weird. And I'm like, oh, interesting, sit there and present. And then it just kept going in the direction of, because you don't react. When Buddha said, tell me, things happen in your life, your key is to not react to them. This is part of what he's saying from a psychotherapeutic standpoint. He didn't just mean don't react like spiritual behavior and centeredness. Also, when people are sharing this stuff and you don't react, you're bringing them home to a new level. So they're telling you their stuff and you're not reacting. And then this girl, I could just sit there and hold space. And it went from all this bragging to a change of posture and it's going deeper and deeper. Then comes deeper feelings and loneliness and sadness and, I've always been trying to do this to be something because I was never anything, and deeper into her heart and soul, not into her divinity, because that doesn't have any of this wounds. It's your soul halfway home. And she tells me all that, and being present with her, and she had rage, man. She had rage, especially towards men. And the way I always did work with people is what's needed in the moment. So I said, "You want to wrestle?" If I may be so bold as to tell you my style of, "Do you want to wrestle?" She's like, "What?" I said, "You want to?" "Yes." So we got together and we got it and wrestled, and she just like wanted to snap me in half. "I hate men." "Go ahead, keep saying it." And men are all, "Yes." And she's like trying to snap me like a toothpick. And she is a strong girl. And she's, until it happened. Blew open, tears and tears. Now the strong woman that's going to show everybody what she thinks is a girl, a soul, halfway home. Now I can hold her and she can cry out all that was behind all the behaviors. Crying, and so on. And then feeling loved. Imagine that I'm the presence of a safe man. Crying. Imagine I'm a safe daddy. Crying. Imagine this is the arms of God holding you. Crying. And then bliss. Peace came in. And we're done. She's like, just like, "What happened?" Like, I'm a totally different person because you've been introduced to your soul today. And I'm telling you, I'm true story. I'll never forget. I walk her. She goes to the door. She's walking out to leave. And I said, "Okay, bye-bye." And she leaves. And I stop and I went, and I looked again. I swear to you, she was a different person. It caught my eye for a second. And as I was shutting the door, and I went, wait, it wasn't like an act. I mean, I opened the door and I go, "Oh my God." Like I was watching just this innocent being walking like she was in her purity, in her, like a soul self. I didn't see the one that showed up at the door like, "I don't trust anybody. I don't know why I'm even here trusting you, And now she's like, now was that her healing? Yes or no? Yes. But is it just hers? Or anybody that ever hears this story is going to go, "Wow, it's true." Me telling the story will always take me to a deeper level of appreciation for what healing really looks like. We're people that are made in God's image. We've forgotten and we became sort of half lost, but souls. Spirit never incarnated. Even though it's in you, it's your knowingness of who you really are. But we think we left and we became souls now on a journey to remember and grow and go back to heaven, which is up here, metaphorically, right? But then we fell further into humanness, and now we don't even remember that we're on a journey, and this is a way of getting home. So the humans sit around like victims. Spirit is, soul so, half trying to remember and half with amnesia, has then dipped down into the human plane where people are living cluelessly. When you're on the spiritual path, what you're really doing is you're halfway accessing your soul again. It isn't just I started reading books and doing yoga. It's not an intellectual thing. It's not a physical thing. It's not an outer thing. When you start getting on the spiritual path and improving your life, even asking about how to heal relationships, doing family of origin work, breath work, all these things are signs that you're wanting to introduce yourself back to your soul. Okay? Which is halfway home. Nurture it, and every time you see it happening, give thanks for it. Give thanks for the peace, the joy, the love, the support, all of that. Give thanks for the people you've hired, because you did hire them. I know some of them are ultra creepy, and you don't want to think that you had anything to do with them being in your life. But, 8 billion people, and they found you. They didn't just show up. They followed this beep, 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 and they're just like, there's someone I can abuse out there in the world somewhere. I'm not saying you consciously asked for it. I'm saying that when we carry a vibe of wounding wounders will find us. It's not that you literally said, I want that wounding, I want that person. It's not always literal like that. All it took was, I'm having amnesia as to who I am, and someone out there loves to take advantage of people with amnesia. When you know who you are, they're like, oh, I better go, I better leave. They know too much. I can see something in them. Too much presence. That's an animal that might fight back. Sorry, just using that world, the animal world, They want to look for the wounded ones. They want to look for the sickly ones. They want to look for ones that aren't going to put up a fight. And I don't just mean literally put up a fight. I'm talking about your presence. And even the most wicked people, as you continue growing spiritually, the most wicked used to find you because you were victims of a world. The more you grow spiritually, the more you become your soul, still incarnated, they find you and they go, uh-oh, too much presence. I ran into this girl once, and she was saying to me, God, I used to see you, and you'd go out and listen to your friend playing music at this nightclub sometimes, and she said, and I wanted to just approach you, and I wanted, and I wanted to dance, and I wanted to get to know you. And I said, why didn't you? And she said, oh no. She goes, there's something there. And these are her words. She said, I looked in your eyes, and it was like, this is just too deep. Like, she said, I'm not going there. I'm like, I would have put on shades and acted shallow. Then you'd have been attracted to me. No. So people see this in you. When you're starting to access your soul, I'm telling you, they see it, they feel it. Some are still going to try to attack it if they sense weaknesses. The more you own it, the more they go, no. And they did this to Jesus. He walks in a room, those with demonic possession, they started flipping out. Evil doesn't want to actually do the things to you might assume. It's afraid of your light. And it did with him. It would run, leave us alone. Leave us. Why didn't it go, oh, look, hey, Christ, let's get him. They knew you can't. This guy, you just can't bug him with anything. And if we try, he's just going to ask us questions that are going to awaken us, So we can't have that. So guys, in a way, fear for your wounded selves and take good care of the wounded self. Like it's a wounded child. Care for it. Have compassion for the wounded self. Oh, so many questions, the heartbreak and the fears and things you asked about. And you asked about the soul and all. So think about this. There's a wounded self. Care for her, it. Be mindful to parent that child. Keep it protected. Don't let yourself accidentally assume that your spiritual self's got it all under control. We moved away from our spiritual self. We made that choice, which gave permission for the ego to manifest a world of evil that would attack that self. Now we have to show up and say, wait, I'm going to own that may have happened. I'm going to own that might have been a choice at one time. Today I'm choosing again. I'm allowed to do that. No more. And so, listen, I know that, we've had a certain relationship, but no thanks. Done. Hey, listen, that pattern's done. Someone tries to engage you in the old ways. Don't shame them. If somebody says, hey, you want to go out and party again this weekend? Don't say, oh, you still drink, I see. I'm so far beyond that. You don't need to do that. You can say, no, that just doesn't work for me. Well, get this kind of thing. Watch. What do you mean? See, that's good. What do you mean? Not shaming them. Well, I just found that when I was doing that, I was really coming from a broken place. And I feel like I'm waking up and I'm alive. See, you're not preaching, you're talking about you. But you've planted seeds because someday that person's going to go, I'm tired of suffering and I want some of that. No shaming, no preaching, and yet you planted seeds of God's presence, hope in people. And now they're like, at some point, wow, I want to know about that. I've talked about experiences, like this when I was a kid, and even to this day, but meeting different celebrities. And I remember one guy who I'm hoping to reconnect with soon. But he was a close friend with Elvis Presley. And one day, Elvis, despite all the success, fame, money, etc., He often went through depression about being in this world, and what do I do? And nobody really loves me. They love the character, and and all that stuff that happens. And this guy's like, well, I'm sorry, just kind of the normal friend kind of, oh yeah, it's kind of tough, I know. And then he says, no, but there's something in you that's different. See, that's cool, because this guy was into Yogananda. And he's going, there's something in you that's different. And I want to know. And he's like, oh, no, And he said, no, listen. Imagine, the king, leaning forward in his chair, looking you in the eye. I said, no, please, I need to hear this. You follow? But that's what every soul is saying to you. I need help. But they won't say it that way, and you shouldn't treat it that way. Just be a friend. Just connect on whatever level will work the most. And this moment, this guy said, well, I practice prayer and meditation. There's a guy that I go to his ashram, his place, and it's peaceful, and I meditate, and there's people that are studying about it. And people don't know it, but Elvis used to go there all the time. When he was in LA, he would drive off to Yogananda Center and be left alone. And that's finding God in his own way. He still had whatever other issues you have at that nature, but he was watering and feeding those seeds that could change his life. And in his own way, he found God. And if he found God only 20%, it's going to upload from the fingers into the hand, and that soul will not be troubled the same way in the next lifetime. Plant seeds, water and feed seeds. Do whatever we can to be that beautiful presence. Yes, the world, very strange place, all kinds of things. But as I'm closing now, it's a house of mirrors. Everything is a mirror. Every person, every event, everything, the sun, the moon, it's all a holographic mirror, reflecting to us what we believe about ourselves. I'm really feeling great about myself. That's uploaded into the holographic program, and it will show maybe today, maybe next year, maybe next lifetime. Every good thought is going to upload and be reflected back. It has to be, because this world has to reflect perfectly where we're at. But the same with challenging thoughts and negative thoughts, okay? The problem, though, is the ego can't just leave bad enough alone. It can't just be a house of mirrors to confuse people. Here's what it does. It's a house of mirrors, and it starts warping the mirrors so you never see anything clearly. See? Everything warped the way they do in the house of mirrors. Suddenly your body is taller, you're this and that. That's the worst part. Isn't just that it's a place of mirrors. It's that all the mirrors are warped. To do what? To accentuate your triggers so that you become hopeless. You come out of a house of mirrors and you're depressed because your body shape was so different. But that was just a house of mirrors. I don't care. It's just the way I looked. It was terrible. Why would you buy into that? But that's what we do. We buy into it. It's all a house of mirrors, and it's warped, distorted images. We have to say, that's why we have to say, God, show me how you would see things. And all of a sudden, it's still a mirror, but it's not warped. Then the mirror starts mirroring positives. It's first the warp comes out, still potentially a negative, but the next, you start to see a world that mirrors your growth. I've established better relationships because I'm better. I've established greater prosperity because I'm better. Don't compare to other people's prosperity. Don't compare it by dollar amounts. It's consciousness. Have a prosperous consciousness. I notice that I'm less afraid. That's good. That's movement. And that means you went away from the warp of the mirror that was warped into looking like poverty consciousness. Still a house of mirrors, but it'll reflect a happy dream instead of a nightmare. Please take a few centering breaths. Take a moment to breathe in anything you heard that made sense. Anything you heard. One word, one sentence, one paragraph, the whole talk. Just anything you didn't connect with, just let it go. It doesn't exist. It's gone. But the things that made sense, breathe them in as your own. Spirit, God, I would love to just return to that. But I'm told I have to go from my human self to my multidimensional heart and soul first. And to do that, just briefly, Holy Spirit of God, reveal into my mind right now anything, any person, event, thought system, belief system that keeps me bound to the warped house of mirrors. Show me my misperceptions. It could be a person I judge. It could be a thing I fear, part of me I don't want to look at. Just, here I am, Mother of the universe. Here I am. Show me a reflection of that I need to work on. We're not going to get into deep work on it. It's going to be to observe it first. Let it spontaneously arise in your mind. Having the courage to see it, I will not fight this thing. I hand it to you, beloved Holy Spirit, Shekinah glory, Divine Mother. I hand this to you. Remove from me all attachments to it, any value I place in it, any karmic circumstances that brought it about. None of this is truth. I give it all to you as unconditionally as possible. I am not alone. I am not needing to be afraid. I don't really have lack. And everyone I've ever had in my life that left, partnership breakup, the death of a loved one, any value that I see in them is also permanently in me as me. They just reflected a period of my life. And now I am. I am okay. I am centered. I am. Peace to them, peace to you. I wish we would have understood the lessons sooner in some cases, but I get it now, and my soul knows that's the only thing that's important. It would have been nice to get it earlier on, Mom or whomever. We didn't. Gosh, that's a bummer, but I'm getting it now. And because there was a connection between you and I, my getting it now, I also can download it to you. Here it is, my peace I surrender to you. My peace I give to you. My peace I extend to you. My love, be at peace. And not only surrendering the things that keep me from knowing my soul, I also now welcome in the presence of my soul. Everyone, for a moment, imagine if you were back into your soul, Edenic-like consciousness, your ethereal soul self, where you are the male-female combined. You are, as God, an image of God, reflection of God. You are seeing everything differently. What does it look like? If you're in your heart, what does the rest of this look like? People, bodies, money. Just make believe. See it from a different perception. Before the fall in Eden, as we say, I was told, you are in Eden, anything you want can come to you. Anything you desire is here in the garden. That means systems of thinking, prosperity consciousness, healthy friendships. You are in Eden, a human version of heaven. Imagine what that looks like. And if you can't imagine it, you probably can't experience it or manifest it. So let it go, let it happen. I bet if I was in Eden, I would always hear the sound of angels. I bet I would always feel at peace. I bet the notion of me being alone and needing someone else would not exist. I bet if I were walking in Eden, I would probably feel compelled to smile more often, hug people more often. These are just examples. I bet if I walked in the Garden of Eden and made a sound, it would cause flowers to bloom right before my eyes. This is not magical thinking. This is part of us that we've forgotten. And this is the altar in my own heart and soul. A hand or two on your heart. We're in this place, Eden, we're there. This is a place of our new coming residence, but it begins today or gets added to today. My awareness of my deservability is right here. So grateful. Yes, I look forward to being there more fully one day, but today I give thanks for any amount that I'm there. So grateful. Deep breath in. The sound of gratitude. Keep going. Let sound come through your being. From your being, through your soul, through your heart. Gratitude, expanding your chest, your heart chakra. Keep going and imagine other beings that live in Eden can hear your sound and are grateful, and they look at each other saying, "Ooh, we have a new arrival." I can hear them. So cool. The peace I am, I share with you. And so it is. Gradually stretch out a little bit, please. One of your questions earlier in the morning here was also on fear, so I pray that we address that as well. Fear is our identification with our fallen, broken self, and we start to have feelings and emotions that aren't reflecting being plugged in. Fear is a perception. Fear is not a fact. Remember, fear is the fear that love isn't here, but it is here. Therefore, it renders fear harmless. Okay? Fear is the thought that I am not versus I am. But I am, therefore I am not is harmless. You know, that which I am not is harmless. We're going to take up our collection. just share as generously as you can. And before you do, please, let's give a hand to Jaya Lakshmi, our beautiful musician today. She has a table in the foyer for folks, but you can also find her online if you're online watching to find her products and things like that, music. She's got like 20 different CDs that she's produced over the years. So nice, prolific music. All right. So take our love offering to our heart. The prayer is on your bulletin in front of you if you're sitting in the rows, and also posted online. But it's simple. Together, please. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Thank you. It'll just take them a minute to pass the bags and baskets around. The bags are for your love offerings. The baskets are just in case you have any extra donations, special donations towards projects or things that we're doing here, and we greatly appreciate that. All right. Prosperity and abundance to all. While they're passing those, then we're going to do our closing prayer. Can anyone share what they learned or heard today that made the most sense or that can be the most helpful in your lives? What did you hear or learn? Yes, dear. Fingertip infatuation.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I was painting my nails in the car because they look horrible. So
Oh,
I related.
and you were just having your nails done so you could relate. Yeah, there you go. Mighty fine looking fingertips as well. Nice job. Who else had their hand up? Yes.
One thing that I was kind of hearing was like drop the need to be somebody. But
Drop the need to be somebody.
yeah,
Yeah.
whether it's like a gender or an identity or a thing or
Yeah.
you know, just drop it.
Yeah. It's lonely at the top.
Yeah.
So the more you start peeling away all the stuff, you're kind of up here and you look around, you go, uh-oh. Yeah, where is everybody? Where'd everybody go? So one of the biggest initiations when you get into really deep initiation of life is one that's called oblivion. And it's when you peel layers, and you know, it might feel okay. Oh, I peeled that old self, and that might be okay. When you start to get to what's considered the original emptiness, in the beginning was a void. See, before we flew in, there was this emptiness. So emptiness is something we fear, because when emptiness happened, we fell into it and started living in it. We were once part of the original flame of God. Then we became soul sparks that shot off of the original flame. And when we shot off the embers, we became lights falling into a dark universe. And we live in terror, thinking that finding someone to distract us from our terror is called partnership. Well, it's only partnership if you can say, I'm terrified. How about you? Me too. Wow. So I won't blame you for my terror, and you won't blame me, but we'll walk together in finding the light that takes us home. That's healthy relationship, you see? Commonly blaming each other. So instead, you know, look, I dig you enough to walk this with you. You know, are we on the same page? And then, does it matter? I mean, that's a soul mate, someone that's walking in time mate with you through stuff. It doesn't even have to be a romantic partner. Don't care what they look like, man, woman, or monkey. It doesn't matter. You're choosing to see the light in another being and do your best to maintain that. But thank you, yeah. Anyone else?
I have to just say that mere oblivion comes right out of Shakespeare's sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything, the end of the 7 stages.
Nice. Well, Shakespeare was a major initiate, you know, and so much depth, so much wisdom, and brought forth in a certain specific style or whatever. But absolutely, that oblivion is something that people fear so much they'll settle on something else. A person can actually be so close to oblivion. Well, what does oblivion mean? Like an ending, isn't it? Like a demolishing. But can God be demolished? No. So guess who's really being afraid that you're facing oblivion? Who is it? The ego. And it makes you think you're it. So it says, run. There's oblivion. You're like, oh, okay, that seems smart. Run. You don't usually go, oh, look, polar bear. Let's stand and pet it. You run. Well, oblivion is that polar bear times 1,000,000,000,000. It's horrific. But only, not to God, only to the ego. So it says run. Run from being alone. Run from being quiet for too long. Run from being in your center. Because oblivion is this, it is beyond the blackness of space. It is beyond that. It's darker than the darkest part of space. It's not just the absence of light. It's more intense than that. Because it's the point, it is horrific because it's the point that mirrors to us the moment we said we are no longer divine beings. And that was a very dark thought indeed. And in that void came all creation, but it isn't capital C, all miscreation. And we call it evolution to go there and hang out. And instead we get to the point of, you know what? I can face this oblivion with you standing at my side or within me, God. That courage. Face that. Face the panic in relationships that are really symbols of trying to hide from having to face this moment. Even at the risk of losing you as my students, my friend, my partner, my children, or whatever, even at the risk of losing you, I have to say no more to certain things that used to happen. See, that's a microcosm of making that choice. Even at the risk of losing you, which is a symptom of the oblivion. I don't care. I need, sanity is where I'm going. Healthiness and sanity, this is where I'm going. And some people will stand with you. Those you could say technically are becoming soulmates. Those who walk away never were. Okay? Thank you. Before you go, I'll share just this. You're welcome. If you are visiting, or even if you live locally, remember we have our healing room, the yurt outside where we have the crystal bed. So by all means, check that out. And it's an incredible experience to hang out there for a little while. All those beautiful lights, tuning in the body and the chakras and all. It's cool. We do have the Daughters of Heaven conference coming up. It's several weeks away, but you can get your tickets now. And I think there's a discount still on it. But go online. You can register here or you can go online. The Daughters of Heaven, it's too much for me to explain right now, but that's an incredible thing that's come through. The Daughters of Heaven are the final faction of light workers that are emerging into the earth. So it's the final one for the crescendo we're all walking into these days. The Daughters of Heaven are people that, where light workers serve humanity, the Daughters of Heaven serve God more directly. So it's too much to get into, but if you want to know more about it, I think we've done some talks about it last month. So check it out. Thank you for your request of things to talk about, and I hope I wove them together and addressed them properly and thoroughly enough. And today is also our once a month. We do the first day of the month, first Sunday of the month, we do a day of prayer and meditation. You're welcome to sign on our group. You can ask how, but you can join us. It's all day. I do 12 hours of prayer meditation. Each, you still have a break in between to do things, but you're welcome. It's a nice devotional day. And lastly, the June 18th, we have our psychic fair. It's a monthly psychic fair, the Sedona Psychic Fair. So it's here, and I'm glad that we are able to host that. So, book your sessions in advance, though, because they do fill up. Please stand for our closing prayer. How are you doing?
Very good.
Good. What's your name?
Morrissey.
Morrissey. Nice name. Any name that starts with an M. For some reason, I don't know, Mother Mary, Michael Mirdad, Magnificence, Magical. Isn't that amazing? Morrissey, can you help us with our closing? Come around here, man. Just don't trip over the lights. You know what this is?
No, not that much.
I'm going to show you. You can feel it? Okay, hold that 1 second. Hold that 1 second. We're going to do that one more time. Hand for Morrissey, please. 1 second. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we go, God is, I am, we are, and so it is. A deep breath. Go ahead. So, thank you very much. Thank you, brother. Can I shake your hand?